Hi everyone, my name's Eder and welcome to another Project Wesker video. In today's video, I'm actually here with my friend Kaitlin and we're actually going to be discussing our thoughts on Resident Evil Infinite Darkness. Right? And so say hi, Kaitlin.
Hi everybody.
Yeah, and if this is your first time here, consider subscribing because I post about everything that has to do about Resident Evil. The other thing I wanted to mention before we start is that, yeah, we did watch it one time. I was starting my second my second watch, of the show, but I didn't have enough time. And I was like, yeah, well, let's do this video. And so we might not remember like every single detail, but yeah, we'll try our best, right? I mean, most people, I'm sure, have only watched it once, but yeah. So let's start with episode 1, the White House outbreak. So what did you think about the beginning of how it started? It did show us a flashback of Panamstam, but it didn't show us like fully what happens. What did you think?
I thought that was good. I mean, it kind of led to some intrigue in the episodes, right? Because then you're wondering what happened.
Yeah, and it was throughout it was like we didn't see everything that happened in Panamstam until I think probably near the end of the show or like episode 3. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, I like that. There was, there was back and forth, right? Yeah, even though I'm not a fan of flashbacks after watching, all those seasons of Arrow. You remember that? You gave up. You gave up on it. Yeah, you gave up on Arrow. I was sick of it by the end of it. I was like, you know what? I'm done with flashbacks.
Like season 4.
I watched it all, and I'm like, oh, I can't. So it wasn't that bad. Yeah.
No.
Though I was
only really had like 3.
I was a little disappointed that the episodes were only 25 minutes long, though. Yeah, I was expecting it to be longer, like the whole season to be longer than a movie. But at the end of the day, it was just 25 minutes. Yeah, what? It was basically an hour and a half, or give or take.
When I originally texted you and said like, oh, I've watched the first episode, and then you were like, there's only 4.
Yeah.
I ended up just watching the other 3 as like a short movie essentially, because I thought there was gonna be like 16 or 10 or something like that.
Yeah, like on Netflix. Usually Netflix is like 8 episodes. That's what I assumed in my when I was theorizing for Resident Evil, Infinite Darkness. I was like, yeah, it might be 8 episodes, probably 40 minutes. Right, but no, that was asking way too much. Yeah, no. At the end, like to see more. It felt like any other CGI movie. I'm pretty sure all of them were like the same runtime. Yeah.
Yeah.
But my thoughts on episode 1 was I really liked how they introduced Leon. Yeah, so they basically brought in Leon. He was a little late, so I thought that was cool. He's showing up, to work a little late because he was busy in another outbreak as if he's too cool for school. But that's Leon, That's the appeal of Leon. And so, yeah, you do see Leon, he has changed a bit. He's changed from, he's no longer the rookie cop. He's getting closer. He's already gone through Resident Evil 4's events, right? And he's also gone through a Resident Evil Degeneration. In Degeneration, Leon was like super hardcore. Like he was intense. Like that was like the first CGI movie. I don't know if you watched that one. Did you ever watch that?
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah,
so I have to watch that now.
Yeah, so that one, he was really intense, and there was actually a callback. So there was a scene in Resident Evil Infinite Darkness when Patrick sees the first infected, Secretary Spacer, in the hallway. And he basically says, "Are you all right?" And he's like, "I got bitten," or whatever. And that's when Leon saves the other agent, Patrick, and shoots him in the head. Right? He shoots Senator Spacey, the zombie, in the head. And so he's like, "Yeah, make sure to shoot them in the head, right?" And well, that's more like Matthew Mercer. Sorry, that's my Leon. Is Leon from Resident Evil 6 and the other CGI movies. But yeah, he said it in a much nicer way, but that was a callback to Resident Evil Degeneration, because Resident Evil Degeneration, he grabs one of the SWAT guys and he's like, yeah, don't hesitate, shoot them in the head, follow me. But like I said, that Leon was a lot more intense. He looked like he's been scarred,
I mean, can you blame him after Raccoon City?
Yeah. And yeah, so this Leon was more chill, right? He wasn't that intense. And and my concern. Oh, you know what? I'm actually gonna switch my glasses. Sorry. So just for those of you that don't know, I'm actually light sensitive. So yeah, and I have lights now in my studio. Yeah, so I forgot. But anyways, yeah, what I was saying is that yeah, I did have my concerns with the voice actor at first, with Nick Apostolides, who was the same voice actor in Resident Evil 2 Remake. But at the end, I really liked his voice for like rookie Leon, right? And for this one, at times I did hear like the other Leons, right? So Paul Mercier, who was the Resident Evil, Degeneration, Resident Evil 4 Leon, and sometimes Matthew Mercer, right? Like even before he spoke, that's the Leon I had in mind. But it didn't distract me too much, because I know that Claire and Leon have a really good chemistry. But that was a weird thing, is that in this show, we didn't really see Leon and Claire working together that much.
If anything, you actually see, like, Claire was kind of mad at him.
Yeah. No, and even before, like, so, yeah, we're speeding up a little, right, in the episode 1, but there was that scene where they met up, right? It was right after the outbreak. She's looking to actually talk to the zombie guy, but nobody's told her that the guy's dead. And that's the other thing, is that they kept it classified. They kept it classified that there was an outbreak in the White House, which I thought was interesting. I like that whole politics, and it reminded me a lot of like Designated Survivor, or like Jack Ryan, like political thrillers or action espionage. Yeah. Which episode 1 especially, and episode 2 as well, because there is a novel and a movie for Jack Ryan that's actually in a submarine, The Hunt for Red October, right? And so those are the kind of books and TV shows that I really like to watch. So that I really enjoyed in episode 1 and 2. It did feel like an American television show, so I thought they did a really good job with it. Even though it was only 25 minutes, 50 minutes with episode 2. But going back to what I was saying was, Claire and Leon, they essentially, when they met, Claire basically told Leon, hey, I met this traumatized boy in Panamstan, and this is his picture, right? He basically drew the zombies, right? There's like a zombie outbreak. And she's like, could there have been an outbreak there? And she's talking to him serious. And then, he leaves real quick because, Jason shows up and says, we gotta go. And Leon's like, I gotta go, Claire, but don't do anything stupid. And he leaves. And it's like, what? What? And then I was like, what the frick? Why are you talking to Claire like that, dude? I thought you guys were homies, yo. You guys freaking survived Raccoon City. Like, what? And then after,
they were like trying to go for the concerned friend kind of thing, but like it just didn't translate that well.
No, and that's probably the writing, because like I said, they had really good chemistry in Resident Evil 2, And yeah, they had really good chemistry. And so I was like the scenes that they were together, because like I said, they were basically split up until like the end, middle, and I think the beginning. But and then after, that's when Claire makes fun of his suit. She's like, Leon, you don't look good in a suit.
I did think that was pretty good comedy, though.
Yeah, she basically got it back, but I was like, what? So that was a little surprising. I thought that was weird at the beginning, is that they're not really friendly towards each other anymore. And especially since Leon wasn't open with her. I know his job, he's basically an agent, so he can't be, divulging secrets. But I mean, this is Claire we're talking about, you know what I mean? Like, you could,
I guess it's like a fine line, because she's also a reporter, and so he's trying to not have all the information out in the world. But it's a little awkward.
Yeah. And also, I don't think was she a reporter for Terra? She was working for TerraSave. I think this was just her own private, I guess, journalism, her own private like research. I thought Claire was doing, because Claire's job at TerraSave has nothing to do with journalism, right?
I don't know really the specifics about her job. It just seemed like she was going for like a journalism style angle.
Yeah.
Since she was trying to get that info and like talk to senators and stuff. Maybe she was just trying to find it out for herself. I don't know.
My understanding is that as soon as she saw, that weird, the boy who's like mute and she's trying to talk to him, and the guy's like, no, that kid's traumatized. Don't stop trying to talk to him. And then, she sees his book, and then she sees his drawing. I think that's when she starts to question, right? But it's like 6 years after, which I thought was weird. It wasn't like recent, even though the first time I watched it, because I did watch episode 1 twice. The first time I watched it, I thought, for some reason, I just assumed that Pan Amsterdam happened in 2006, right? Like a couple of years. But no, then I remembered, no, wait a second. Even I stated this in the info video. No, it happened in 2000, right? So it happened 6 years prior to the events of Infinite Darkness.
Yeah.
So it's like old news. So she's basically, opening a cold case. She's essentially trying to figure out what's happening. One funny thing though at the White House was when the lights went out. There was some scenes with Jason, Shen, and no, it wasn't. No, it was Patrick as well. It wasn't Leon. So that Leon didn't do this. But this was really weird. I don't know if you thought this was weird, but the thing with the flashlights. Did you notice that?
Yes.
I thought
that was very odd. I don't know if it's like a thing where if it's another agent in the other room, like maybe you click it twice and then they know it's you. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's something like that, but I thought that was weird too.
I would have been dazed because of my light sensitivity. I would have click. Yeah,
I just been like, who's flashing their flashlight at me?
Yeah, and I would have been dazed. Like, I'm on the floor.
I'm assuming maybe it's some kind of military tactic thing, though.
It didn't look American because I've never seen that in American television. It was kind of the only practical sense that I thought of it, because it was weird when I first saw it, but then after, I was like, okay, let's think about this. The only weird thing is that if it was like another enemy, for example, so they did talk about how the White House just recently got hacked, and then that's when they got attacked with the outbreak. So that's not a coincidence, right? So there could be people in there that had just recently, hacked the White House and just brought a whole bunch of zombies and infections. And so I think those agents were like you mentioned, you just said that, right? Like they were kind of, not for other agents, but I think they might have been careful if there was other humans, like other, terrorists, like in the dark room. And so I think they wanted to just flash to see if there's anybody hiding there, and then flash in another corner. Because I noticed there was a system to when they flashed, like it was like right to left, right, and they moved. But I thought that their gun placement was a little weird. And then after they reverted back to, putting their gun on top, like their gun and holster, like putting their flashlight underneath, right, so that they could aim. But yeah, I thought that was weird. I thought that was that kind of brought me back. But anyway, it was just a little thing that I noticed that I thought that was weird.
I just Googled this because I was just curious about it, and
yeah.
I don't know if this is kind of the same thing, but they were saying, so I guess tactical flashlights have like a strobe effect.
Yes.
Which is clearly not the same thing. I mean, they were doing like a click.
No.
But they were saying that they use it when there might be a person who's potentially dangerous but not like lethally armed to disorient them. So maybe that's what they were going for. I'm not sure.
Yeah. No, and also
then you would only do it if there's a person, but
I always flash myself when I have my flashlight, because most flashlights, they do have those strobe effects, and so sometimes I'll be like, I'll just flash myself. Yeah, it's like throwing a flashbang at myself or something. Yeah.
Bro, your life is hard.
Yeah. Well, I always have to wear sunglasses, so. But even still, strobes are really strong. That's why you'll never see me at a nightclub or anything like that. That ain't happening. I tried. It didn't. No, I couldn't.
I mean, I guess it would work. Maybe it would work on the zombies too. If you flash them like in the eyes, maybe they would have trouble seeing you for a second because it's so dark.
I would have trouble seeing.
You have life so I would have trouble for a second though if someone shined a flashlight right in my eyes twice. So maybe that's what they're going for.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so yeah, maybe that's what they were going for. But yeah, but then after they just found zombies, right? So, but yeah, there was also that scene where Jason was kicking ass. So they got the president to safety, And then they just started kicking ass. They're like, yeah, shoot anything that moves. And they went in and he just started just freaking shooting everything. Just, I really like that scene. And then Leon also had a badass scene where it kind of shows his growth as well. So, he's no longer that rookie cop, who struggles shooting in Resident Evil 2 or Knife's really weird. I like that they showed a progression, right? But they didn't show him being like a total badass like in Resident Evil Vendetta. Did you watch that one?
I feel like I haven't watched any of the other Resident Evil shows, honestly.
Oh, you did? I thought you did. Okay.
Did I? Oh my gosh, I don't even know.
Yeah, so Resident Evil Degeneration is with Leon and Claire. Resident Evil Damnation is the second one, and he's like in like an Eastern European location. He's by himself. It's just Leon. And then Resident Evil Vendetta is him with Rebecca, Chris, and Leon. Yeah.
No, I definitely have not seen this. I'm just watching the trailer.
You got to watch Vendetta.
You need to go watch the rest of them.
There's a scene, you could search it up. Vendetta, Leon and Chris fight scene. Like they don't fight each other, but they fight zombies like in a hallway, and that's ridiculous. I heard one Resident Evil fan online who was like, I thought it was too intense doing their gung fu and doing all that. I thought it was sick. Like I thought it was awesome. Like that's how you get rid of zombies after you have like 40 years of experience. You start doing stuff like that. And so, it wasn't that badass level because obviously Leon hasn't lived that long. He hasn't experienced that many outbreaks, as much as Resident Evil Vendetta. But I thought that was so cool. Yeah. No, because they did show the scene where he's fighting a bunch of zombies. Like, I think he's fighting 3 zombies and he shoots a zombie behind him. And then after he goes forwards and starts shooting, without looking, and then he checks back to see if that zombie, is completely dead because he basically shot him from behind. So I thought that was nice. Yeah, that was dope. Any other thoughts that you want to mention about episode 1?
Specifically about episode 1, I don't think so. No, I think that pretty much covered it.
All right. So let's go to episode 2. So episode 2, I guess, was the submarine episode, is what I'm gonna call it, right? Yeah, the submarine. Yeah. So they go to Guam, right? And I don't even know where Guam is. Where is that? I was gonna search it up. I always hear it in movies.
South America, right?
Is it? I don't even know.
I'm pretty sure.
I'm curious now, but it's all right. I'll check.
This has turned into a geography lesson.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was just starting episode 2, but I didn't know where that was. Anyways, I'm gonna have to talk about as soon Leon is basically in the submarine. They're chilling, Jason and Shen. I thought that was weird that Patrick wasn't there. Patrick stayed in the White House, essentially.
Well, he was protecting the president.
I see, but he was part of the agents, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
He was an agent, so I don't know why he didn't go also. I mean, like, the president has all what is that? The Secret Service, right? He's got people to protect him. How come he didn't show up? Anyways, I thought that was weird. But yeah, so as soon as they're in the submarine, I thought it was really funny. Leon is basically just asking Jason, what about this? How far are we? Or no, he's just asking general questions about the mission. And Jason's just blowing him off. He's just like, no, that's classified. And he goes off. And then as soon as Jason leaves the room, Leon just sits down right away, looks at Shen and be like, so when are we grabbing dinner? Huh? When?
That was the weirdest scene.
I was like, my boy, right away, Leon. He's going right for it. He's shooting his shot.
It was so random, though. Like, he just sat down and was suddenly like, so, when are we going out? I don't know. I did not see it coming at all. Just watching the episode, I thought he was going to ask her, like, to tell him about the classified stuff. And then he, like, asked her on her date, and I was like, what just happened? I have whiplash.
Yeah. No, I thought that was funny. I thought that was funny. That's the typical Leon. But you know what, Leon? I don't know. Leon's kind of weird. So I guess he really likes, like, Ada, right? But in Resident Evil 4, he did not like Ashley. Ashley, like, basically shot her shot. at the end of Resident Evil 4, and he was like, "Sorry, but I can't," you know. So I thought that was funny. And then after he treats Claire like don't do anything stupid, Claire, like almost like a dumb little sister or something. I don't know. I thought that was.
I guess he likes the women that kick ass, right?
He likes Asians, I think.
So, but like, Ada like saved his life a bunch of times and like, you know, kicks butt and everything. So maybe he has a type.
Though Shen Mei, we did. She looked like she was badass, but at the end, she didn't really do much.
Yeah, we didn't see her do anything really.
Yeah, like in the White House, like that, everybody was being a badass, and Shen was just flashing her lights, and then just took care of one zombie, and they didn't even show it, right? And yeah. So I don't know, but I like Shen. I thought she was hot. I ain't gonna lie. But then I also think Claire is hot, so it's like why did the relation, why did his, why did he change his attitude with Shen, like when we're going out for dinner, Shen, and then Claire's like, don't be an idiot, Claire.
He's drawn a firm line. It is friendship versus like, oh, she's Asian.
yeah. But anyways, I thought that was funny. I had to bring that up because I thought that was a funny scene. I was.
That caught me off guard for sure.
Yeah, and then right after, like, you see Leon basically going down the hallway, and he actually catches Jason like injecting himself with something, and he doesn't even ask you anything. He just continues walking. I was like, what? Like that looks like he's drugging.
He didn't confront him.
Looks like he's using drugs. Jason, what the frick? Jason's the leader of this squad or whatever. They don't specify the agency that he's a part of, but yeah.
He looked like he was having issues too. I mean, his veins were like kind of popping, and he was breathing heavy. I would have been like, "Got a problem over here?"
Yeah, and then the next scene, I think they showed another flashback, but then after, I think it was episode 2 where I think they showed a cutscene, or not a cutscene. They showed a scene where Leon and Jason talk about their mental health problems, and we've never seen that like in the games, where they actually talk about like how they've coped with seeing all of these outbreaks, what it does to the mind and stuff. And so Jason was talking about his experience in Panamstan and how he hasn't really recovered. He still gets nightmares, he's still, affected by it, obviously trauma, PTSD and stuff. And then Leon also basically was saying the same thing with Raccoon City, I thought that was a really great scene. And I mentioned this in the other video where I basically talk about the behind the scenes interview with Hiroyuki Kobayashi. But I did, the only other times that they basically showed a little bit of how it affects the main characters was in Resident Evil Vendetta. So Leon in Resident Evil Vendetta looked like he had enough. He was just drinking in like Colorado, like in some, he was actually treating the waitress really bad. He's getting drunk. Like at it looked like the morning, like 11 a.m. or something. I don't remember exactly what time it was. And Chris shows up and basically talks to him, and says, "Are you all right, man?" But they don't really talk about his mental health. You just kind of see Leon looks like crap. He's not doing well. And then in Resident Evil 6, the same thing happened with Chris. If you remember, like that's why Chris left the BSAA, because he had his whole squad get killed, and so I think he basically had his whole squad die on him, but he was just, again, he was at a bar in like Edonia,
totally drunk,
Eastern Europe, getting drunk, and then that's when Pierce shows up and Resident Evil 6 starts and basically calls him back to the BSAA. So we've seen characters not doing well, but we've never seen them talk about their issues. And so I really like that scene in episode 2. Yeah, I gotta say, I really liked how they were. Leon was, sharing his experience, how it wasn't good, how there were so many survivors in Raccoon City, how he still thinks about, that, those people being left behind, how it was a government cover-up,
good character depth.
Yeah, I know. I really like that scene. And then what happens in episode 2? Oh yeah, we have the rats.
I actually had a problem with one of those scenes with the rats.
Yeah.
So he goes through and he's fighting the rats, and then he electrocuted a bunch of them and jumped up.
Yeah, that was cool. I was like, when I watched that, I gotta say, I was like, what is Leon gonna do? What you gonna do, Leon? What are you doing? There's nothing you could do. And then after he does the thing, I think, yeah, he, puts, what was it? Oh yeah, he puts the water or something. I don't remember.
He's stuck. He broke one of the pipes so that there was water, and then he hit the axe against the electrical box on the side.
Yeah, and that's when he jumped up and grabbed some pipes.
And that's fine. Like, he threw the axe at it, so he wasn't touching it. It wouldn't electrocute him. I'm fine with that. But I'm like, how did he get back out of that situation? Because the whole ground was wet and being electrocuted.
I think if I remember correctly.
The next scene.
Yeah, they did. They did. That's very Japanese of them. With this, like, Leon's gonna get out of this. We don't have to show you. Let's save time. We got to get that 25 minutes. The director has to go to the bathroom. We don't have time to show you.
I wanted to know so badly. I was like waiting. I was like, oh, how's he gonna get out of this now? The floor is electrified, and they skipped out. I was like, wow.
It's true, yeah. No, it's
just
yeah.
a small inconsistency for me.
Yeah. No, definitely. But but I thought that was a cool scene. But yeah, no, it's true. I do remember. I was like, how did he get out of it? I don't know. Yeah, you're just gonna have to invent the story, right? Continue the story. Leon just kept, probably used all his upper strength to go to the next area, open the thing while he was hanging, open, the door, and then escaped. And
perfect. I like it.
I thought it was cool how everybody got their knives out, like, right away. Everybody knew, like, let's get our knives,
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
My question was, and, like, they didn't really explain this at all, and I was just curious.
Yeah.
So all of the sailors on board were infected with this virus, right?
Yeah.
Was it in the food or the water? Like, how did Leon and Shenmei and Jason not have any issues with this?
I knew you were gonna say that. That's why I said yeah, because I knew this was gonna come up, because I knew I was thinking about the same exact thing. Because as a viewer, you're like, well, who infected them? And that's when we see Shen and Jason acting really weird. They knew before that these guys were infected, and they just started killing them while they were alive. They didn't even tell anybody, you guys are infected. No, they just started cutting people, like, left and right. So, I don't know, this is very Japanese again. They don't explain, right? Or maybe they did and we missed it. I have to watch it again. But
yeah, maybe I missed something.
Maybe really quickly they explained something. But I think it was Jason, was it? I think it was Jason that infected all of them.
You think he did it?
Yeah.
I mean, he was trying to, like, get terror out, so I guess that's possible. They just, I don't remember them showing anything that would allude to it.
Well, that's when they started showing Shen and Jason acting weird. So it looked like Jason had a plan, right? And but you just said you looked it up?
Yeah, so I was looking at the episode, and you see Jason go with Leon to the control room because suddenly the, like, sub lurches, and they see that everyone's killed, and that's when Jason goes through and starts killing people. But then I was remembering that later in that episode or another episode, he talks about the fact that it was Wilson trying to make it look like the Chinese had taken down the sub. That's
right. And he was also really adamant, like really trying to convince President Graham that, it's the Chinese, I tell you, it's them, and in the office, right in the Oval Office. So yeah.
It doesn't explain exactly how he got the virus to them,
well,
but at least
the thing is, Jason was working with Wilson.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, because he was basically...
because he needed to get his,
antivirus. Yeah. Because it wasn't permanent. So it was kind of like it was, that whole arc was very similar to Dead Rising. Yeah. So like the Zombrex.
It was.
Take it every day. So it keeps the zombie infection away.
Away?
Yeah.
That's the way for you to say
Yeah. So yeah, like especially since Dead Rising 2, Dead Rising 1, I think that's where it started. But Dead Rising 2 with his daughter, right, Chuck Green's daughter, where he had to keep injecting her every day. Yeah, and so I thought that was very similar to that. But you know what? At the end of the day, it didn't like bother me too much, because I thought it was interesting putting that idea in the Resident Evil universe, because that's never been a thing, right? But yeah. But seeing those aggressive rats, they look, and I'm assuming it was the T-virus, because they never, I don't know, I never heard anybody basically state that it was like that it was something else. Just I remember like in episode 1, Leon talking to Jason, and he's like, "Do they know if it's the T-virus?" And he's like, "Well, no, after the labs, after they've checked the labs of all of the infected, and a bunch of biohazard guys took the zombies, dead zombies away." So, but I don't know. Do you remember if they stated if it was the T-virus? It looked like it was the T-virus. Oh, I'm getting a memory.
At the end, they show that it's Tricell.
Oh, I didn't catch that. Really?
What? You didn't catch that?
I missed that.
At the end, when Wilson's sitting at the table.
Yeah.
And then he's taking the antivirus. He closes the lid on the box that he's taking the antivirus out of, and it says Tricell.
Get out of town. Really?
Yeah.
Dang, I missed that. See, this is why I gotta watch it again. This is why I gotta watch it.
Major pieces here.
Yeah, I also saw some other Easter eggs. So I might have to do a video basically just doing Easter eggs, because I did notice 2 other Easter. I'm not gonna mention it now. It's a secret. You're gonna have to watch that video. Yeah.
I have to wait to watch the video?
Yeah. And so if I tell you now, then you guys won't watch the video. So come on, work with me here. But no, but you got one secret. Kaitlin just told you about Tricell. I mean, I missed that completely. I'm sure the viewers, some of the viewers, probably just like me, they missed it. But yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I was really busy though as I was watching it, so I wasn't just doing one thing. So. Yeah, so that's probably why I was doing multiple things, even though I shouldn't. But I was like, I gotta watch it. But dang, I see. So it was Tricell. But yeah, no, I think it was the T-virus, because I think I do have a memory of, I think it was episode 4, that scene where I think he does state that it's the T-virus. But I have to watch it again. Yeah, but yeah, and then after we basically see them, get out of the water, and they go to the safe house. I think that's when episode 3 starts, right? And then we go back to Claire, and Claire, you see her going to that weird house that was very reminiscent of Resident Evil 7. So I don't know if it was like in a similar area, if it was in Georgia. I think that's where Resident Evil 7 was. Resident Evil 7 wasn't my favorite game, so I literally just, I beat it before Resident Evil 8 came out. I think I beat it in January. I got the platinum. But yeah, I wasn't a fan of Resident Evil 7. But yeah, it was somewhere in the south of the States. And that's where it looked like. Yeah, it looked very reminiscent of that whole, it was like an old house. Yeah. And, but yeah, did you have anything else to add for episode 2 before we continue with episode 3?
I don't think so. I was thinking to myself, do you think it was part of the Ouroboros virus? Because that's what Tricell makes in game 5, right?
Yeah, no, but the thing is that I don't think they were starting Ouroboros just yet, because because Wesker, Wesker was visiting the Spencer estate, because that happens in just a couple of months after Infinite Darkness. So that's true. Yeah, so it just happens literally right after, essentially. That's why I was like theorizing that we could see Chris and Jill, right, show up. And that's one of the weird things that I also stated in the behind the scenes interview. I stated that it was kind of weird. I was expecting Chris and Jill to basically show up in the White House, for the BSAA to show up, since the BSAA was a very, small team. But they could have literally showed up to basically say the coast is clear, since those guys are they specialize in outbreaks, right?
Yeah.
So it was a missed opportunity. It was a missed chance where we could have seen Jill and Chris basically show up, their team, and basically take care of the rest, or make sure that everything was, taking care of the situation. They could have showed up in a helicopter and tell one of the agents, like Patrick or something, or Jason, that yeah, we're all good, or talk to Secret Service members, and they could have said, hey, Leon, Claire, what are you guys doing here, or something, right? We could have seen that.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
Or
maybe they were trying to like focus on Claire and Leon, so they didn't want to bring them into it, but it would have been nice to have.
Yeah, because
even at the end, like you said. Because
then we don't see Jill, right? Or it could have been at the end also, because that whole facility was underneath the president, essentially, right? They could have just showed up as backup and been like, they were going to check the rest of the facility, see if everything is truly dead, right? Just to confirm. Yeah. I don't know, something like that. But also in the White House incident, I thought another weird thing was that I was expecting to see Ashley from Resident Evil 4, so President Graham's daughter, But I know everything was.
I thought she was gonna pop up at some point. I was waiting for it.
They only showed a picture, and I was like, "What? Come on." I was like, a lot of people were fans of Ashley, or they liked Ashley, right? I mean, it's been a long time since we've seen her. Some people did find her annoying. I mean, at times, Leon.
That's probably why Leon turned her down, honestly. But.
Yeah, she did have an annoying voice. She was a little stuck up. But she was funny, and so I don't know, she's a classic RE character. We should have seen her, I know everything's classified in the White House, but they, after that whole thing that happened, President Graham you could have seen a scene of him calling Ashley and been like, hey Ashley, I just had a really long day, and then she's like, oh, I'll come and visit you or something, and then they could have seen Leon again, and Ashley, I don't know, something, They could have given us something. So, but yeah, and so that's the only thing that I thought episode 2 needed more, right? More characters. There was 2 missed opportunities there for sure. Yeah, and I did like the rats. The rats were kind of intense. I was like, dang, like they weren't like just like normal rats in Raccoon City that were infected. No, these looked like they were a little mutated.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. I liked that they made them like little monster rats.
Yeah, I was like, how is Leon gonna get out of this? And then he does the electricity thing and jumps up. But so let's continue with episode 3. So then after Claire basically finds out that the last Mad Dog unit member committed suicide. So all of them literally committed suicide, and it's an old body, right? That's when she goes in that creepy house. It's dark. She sees vials everywhere. So those were the vials that Jason had a nightmare that he was going to a house, goes up, and it looks like he was going to go visit that old team member, and he finds him dead. So he just...
Well, I think it was a memory.
Yeah, exactly. So he basically just drops the bag of antivirus, and that's when he kind of wakes up in the submarine, and that's when Leon talks, in episode 2 about their experiences. But so that's the same house, right? That's the same location, and then after you basically figure out that they're not doing well. Mad Dog unit is not doing well after the antivirus. Yeah, they just got some serious problems, committing suicide and stuff. So
well, Jason was the only one left.
Yeah, and so
he was planning to commit suicide, just after doing some other stuff.
Yeah, exactly, right, with the terror and show everyone the fear.
Yeah, exactly.
So then, sure enough, that scene pops up, right? I liked how they showed Shen and Jason and Leon all being really professional, like agents. Basically went to the safe house immediately, right? They got geared up. But there was a weird scene, and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, right? So they get geared up. They're getting all ready, and then they're going to go to the research facility or whatever. But then that's when Jason says the plans change. We're not doing that. Are you in or out? Are you in with us, or are you going to continue this, doing that? And I noticed Jason and Leon kind of stare at each other for a little, like they're basically telling, showing that I'm not going to follow you.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden Leon just shoots him in the stomach and then turns around. It's like, whoa, Leon, what? Why did you just shoot him all of a sudden? What?
It felt a little like I thought he was gonna hear him out at least.
Yeah.
I didn't expect him to just be like, you know what? If you're not on board with me, you die.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, that's a little intense. And then Shen was like trying to shoot Leon, right? And Leon was taking cover, kind of pushed Jason over. And I was like, okay, that was a little, that escalated quickly, you know.
It did. It escalated very quickly. I feel like there could have been more, like,
talk.
Story fleshing out there or something. Just because,
Jason,
it was weird.
And it wasn't like a reaction. It wasn't like Jason went for his gun or was about to shoot Leon. It wasn't like a defensive reaction. There wasn't a reaction. It was just Leon just shot him.
Well, he was looking at his gun.
Yeah.
But I feel like it was more like he was gonna shoot him because Leon was also looking at his gun.
Yeah, but Jason also looked a little tired. Like he was kind of just, wasn't he like on the couch? That's what I remember. I don't know. He didn't look like he was like in a ready state. I don't know. I thought that was a little like, come on, Leon. Okay.
Yeah. It was a little like, I mean, I know why Leon shot him, but I was also kind of like, I feel like you kind of jumped the gun there.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like maybe they had a viable lead and you just didn't want to hear it.
Yeah. Yeah, and then after, we see Shen escaping and going to her grandfather's place, and then after we get the realization, I think that's when they show the rest of the flashback about what happened in Panamstan, right?
Yeah.
About how that was her brother that they basically saved, and then they basically decided we're gonna stay and try to save as many people as we can. But then there was zombies. The brother was infected, and then all of them got infected, and that's when But the brother was already starting to become a zombie. Like I think he was a zombie, but no, that's what happened. Sorry, yeah. So this brother did have a vial. I think he did have a vial or several vials. No, I think he only had one. And Jason got infected, I think, first. I don't know. I wasn't too clear on that. But I noticed he did give him a vial, like half of his. And so, but since he was already like really infected, like his infection already progressed so much that it didn't really work with him. Like it still kept him kind of like 90% zombie, 10% human. But for Jason it worked a lot better because I don't think it progressed that much. Yeah, and
I'm not sure the brother had actually used any of it, but I mean he was gonna die, so I think he was like, doesn't matter. Like I mean he was missing all of his legs.
No, he did. I remember that much. Yeah, or else he would have like bit his grandfather. Yeah. You know, like he wasn't fully conscious essentially. But there was just a little small part of him. That's why they were keeping him alive. Yeah, which was kind of weird. Yeah.
I was surprised at first. I didn't realize that he was turning into a zombie. I was like, how is this guy still alive? How much damage has been done to him?
Yeah, and that's when Shen basically leaves her post, and then she basically talks to all of them, right? Yeah. And then she's like a part of like this classified. That's why she goes with Jason, which I thought was interesting. A little rushed. I'm gonna have to watch that scene again, like I said, because it was a little weird, a little Japaneseified, where they kind of omit stuff, or I didn't really get the clear picture. I didn't understand it fully. But I'm pretty sure. Yeah, the brother did get the part of his dose. I think he shared it. Yeah, he did share it because Jason did get infected in that building. All of them got infected, I think. And so I don't know if he had several vials and then there wasn't enough, so he shared his. But the infection was making him turn into a zombie, like 90%, not fully. Yeah. And I also thought that was cool how Leon just showed up. You know, he like went through all the security, showed up, but then all of a sudden Jason, again, very Japanese. I don't understand how Jason destroyed the whole building so quickly. So that means he got shot. Did he transform? Or does he...
No, because he doesn't transform until he starts talking to Lisa in the facility.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so then how did he He healed? Like, I don't understand how he healed himself. He was dead. He got shot in the stomach. You can't survive that. But, for longer, I think it's just really painful I think so. And anyways, yeah, so he went back, and then he knew where Shen Mei was, but why did he blow up Shen Mei's place if they were working together? I didn't get that.
Yeah, I didn't. I don't know if it's because he was trying to spread fear and terror, so he was... It was kind of weird.
That was weird, but... And it wasn't like Leon and Shen were working together right away. They were working together after that whole explosion or that whole, building collapsed. Yeah, and how did that building collapse? It was an explosion, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, Leon and Shen made it out alive, right? Leon's like, I'm gonna take care of you, Shen. we're going to that dinner, and
he really wants that day. He's gonna work for it.
Yeah. And then after it basically transitions into episode 4, right? So we have Claire going back to the motel. She basically knows that, this has a connection with Wilson, and then she gets kidnapped, right? Right away by Wilson's, Secretary Wilson's men. And then she gets brought into the facility, and that's when, Secretary Wilson, I think he offers her a buyout, or basically offers to buy her out by offering all of the schools and stuff that TerraSave. Yeah, because she does work for TerraSave. That's why she went to the White House. And now I'm remembering it was specifically is because she wanted to build schools and hospitals, I think, in Panamstan. Yeah. And so he was offering that to her. And then Claire goes through like a whole interrogation. I thought Claire was pretty badass, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I was like, dang, Claire.
Yeah, they did a good job with that.
Yeah, I thought that was good. Yeah, I thought Claire did a really good job. Being like, forget you. And and then I thought this was really weird. So, wait a second. Yeah, so Leon and Shen show up, right? And then Claire is like roped, right? I think
she was duct taped, I think.
Yeah, a lot of things happen. So let's break it down. So first off, I don't understand how Leon and Shen show up during the same time that Claire is there and things are about to go down with Jason and Secretary Wilson. Because literally,
the magic of Resident Evil.
Yeah, it's a very Japanese storytelling. Because literally, Jason shows up. Claire witnesses this. Jason shows up, if I'm not mistaken, and basically tells Secretary Wilson that that I'm not doing this anymore, and basically I think chokes, or no, he basically breaks his arm or something. What does he do?
He I don't know.
Because he survives. He survives.
He smacks him against one of the containers, I think.
Yeah, and then that's when he transforms, right?
Yeah.
And then after he puts the security, I think the lockdown, like the self-destruct button, and says, I'm going to go spread terror. And then that's when Shen and Leon show up, right? And then they're trying to basically chase Jason. And for a final boss fight, I don't know, I didn't really like that. I didn't like how Jason was the final boss, and he didn't act like a final boss. But anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. This is what I don't understand. Is why Shen and Leon all show up in the facility and then Claire's there. It's like everybody got there at the same time. Like, that was weird. I don't know. What did you think about that? I didn't understand.
I just want to know the timeline of where people were coming from, because Leon and Shen were in China.
Yeah.
And the facility, I'm thinking, is in the U.S.
That's the thing.
So, did they fly back, and so did Jason? He could have flown back.
That's what I don't understand. Where's this facility?
Claire was there the whole time, which is, that's fine.
Well, yeah, they also...
she went to Georgia or something and then came back.
She got kidnapped at night, right? So they could have flown her, or they could have brought her wherever. So I'm assuming it's America.
Yeah.
But then Leon and Shen, the last time we saw them, it was during the day, right? During the explosion. That was sunny, right? Or the afternoon, I don't know. I would say the afternoon. But
after the explosion, I think that was supposed to be like evening.
No, it was dawn. It was dawn because Shen entered.
Because it was nighttime.
Yeah.
Before.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
He followed her. Yeah. And also, the other thing I forgot to mention is that episode 3, in her grandfather's house, Shen Mei's grandfather's house, that the decoration reminded me a lot of Resident Evil 6. When the Jake and Sherry mission, when you're in a Chinese area. I don't know if you remember that, the same decoration, there was this, I don't know, I thought I was going through that level again. So somebody in the show obviously took a lot of inspirations, right? Like I mentioned before, the house that Claire visits, it was very similar to Resident Evil 7, and then this is very similar to Resident Evil 6, the whole colors and stuff.
The whole facility part too, when they're fighting and there's all the containers of the zombies, right?
Yeah.
That reminded me a lot of when you're in number 4. Yeah, you're in that that elevator that goes, or not number 4. Did I say number 4? I meant to say number 5. When you're on the elevator going up and down.
Yeah.
And you have to shoot all the different zombies as you're going up.
Yeah, and it also reminded me of Resident Evil Resistance. Yeah, Resident Evil Resistance. There was one level where there was it was the same thing. There was a bunch of those little pods. And I didn't play much Resistance, but I remember there was a map. I think it was the third map or the second. Yeah, there was a map there that you could go in a facility. Yeah. But yeah, so I think, they took a lot of inspirations from a lot of different locations, which I thought was nice. But go back to what I was saying, right? Didn't you think that was weird? You said, right, you didn't know where the facility is, and I still don't know exactly where the facility,
Yeah, I think it was in the US because I don't think the president flew anywhere. But then again, they showed him driving in his car with the Secret Service. So
no, but they showed him on a plane at the end. They showed him on a plane at the end, Air Force One. He was right next to Air Force One.
So maybe it was in Panam Stan.
That's the thing, and right before doing the video, I was mentioning this part because I was so confused. And let me know down in the comments if you guys are as confused as me about this. But yeah, I remember the beginning of the show, and I watched that first episode twice. The whole thing is that there was going to have a meeting with the president in Panam Stan. But then I also remember now that the provincial government shows there's a news report that the provincial government of Panam Stan has gone to the States. So I'm a little confused now. I don't know, I'm second guessing myself. So I don't know if it's Panam Stan.
I'm going to assume that you're right and they're in Panam Stan because we see the Secret Service car, we see the president flying, and that would make more sense for the timeline because then Claire could have been flown there overnight. She's there in the morning for when the president's doing the speech, being interrogated, and then
it would take
Leon,
15 hours, maybe more to fly.
Yeah.
Because also Panam Stan is right next. So for those of you that don't know, there's also, when Claire was looking at, she had all those things on the motel, there was a picture of Panam Stan to the left of China on the map. So we know that. But yeah, you were saying?
Well, that's what I was going to say too, because then Leon and Shen Mei, it would make sense that they were able to get there quicker because if they were in China, it wouldn't be that long.
Yeah.
That far away.
Yeah. So I don't. I mean, China is also pretty big. So, but they could have taken a airplane or something, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but it would have been nice to have a little bit of clarity.
Yeah.
Where they just said they could have just had a moment where
of explanation.
Leon was talking to Shen, and they were like, "Okay, let's head to Panam Stan." They could have just.
Yeah.
Just list something.
Because I was confused. I thought maybe it was the bio research facility in China, and that bio research facility was actually Wilson's, but that doesn't really make any sense. And so I still don't know. All right, we're gonna have to watch that. It's a small detail, but then after, let's continue. Right, we're almost done. So then after, another weird scene that I don't understand is that's basically Leon and Shen go after Jason after he transforms, and he's like, I'm going to reveal myself to the world, and that's it. So yeah, they go up, try to chase him, and then all of a sudden he talks with Shen and basically tells her, you're gonna have to die. I don't understand. They were working together. Like, I don't get it. Like, why did he destroy her brother's, her grandfather's house? You know, he didn't know she was working with Leon. You know? So I don't know why. Yeah. Did you understand that? I was lost. I was like, and also my heart, I was like, oh my gosh, Shen. Shen. Press F in the chat, guys, if you were also like that.
Oh my gosh, I feel like I need to like go back and watch this part. I know that. Now you have me confused, and I wasn't confused when I was watching it.
Okay, what was your interpretation of the scene? Because like I said, I mean, I missed some details. I obviously missed Tricell and stuff, you know, big details like that. So yeah, I mean, what was your interpretation? What was your take of what you're watching?
My interpretation was that he wanted to spread terror, and he felt like she wasn't going to be doing that anymore. But I'm like trying to find the scene now where he talks.
You try to find it.
Talks to her. Yeah, because now I'm like, what did they say? So she walked up to him and she was like, Jason, you don't have to do this.
Yeah, that's what I remember. And it's like, you don't have to, you know. We could still spread my I have my brother's thing, right? We could still spread his message. Okay. Like, we can continue.
I missed part of the subtitles here, so I gotta go. I obviously don't have it on volume because we're talking.
Yeah.
So give me a second to watch this and see exactly what's said between them.
So we're just gonna pause right now. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Kaitlin actually just watched the scene real quick, just to confirm, right, what was going on.
Yeah. And basically, she just walks up to him and is like, "It doesn't have to go down like this. You don't have to die." And he's like, "I'm already dead." And then he just straight up murders her.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, right? Like, she was working with him. Her whole plan.
I guess it's because she was saying that he should live. So I guess she was kind of saying, like, you should keep taking the antivirus and survive. And I guess he was like, I don't want to do that. Someone's going to murder you.
I mean, it looked like he did care for her, right? It looked like they obviously had, like, you know, they were friends because she was helping him out. Like, the whole thing was, they were trying to basically, you know, uncover the government's cover-ups, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't...
She was telling him that they have the ship. That's why she was saying, you don't have to die. Like, we have the proof.
Yeah, but let's continue.
That wasn't good enough for him.
I don't...
He wanted to spread the terror by showing himself, and she wanted to stop that, so he killed her. It wasn't like a great reason.
No.
I mean,
that was Japanese storytelling.
Weird zombie.
It's Japanese storytelling. Yeah, I was like, what? I didn't understand. I'm sorry, but that was weird for me. And also, like I said, my heart for Shen Mei. I was like, come on.
I felt bad for her.
Yeah.
And then I thought to myself, poor Leon, he'll never get that date.
Exactly, yeah. And I was like, no, Shen. But anyways, and while this is happening, right, I think Claire says Leon, like, as they were chasing Jason, but Leon just ignores her and be like, oh, hey, Claire. Something like that.
I don't think he heard her because they were up a lot of floors.
Yeah. No, I think I wrote it down, though. I don't remember, but I think I wrote it down. It was like, what's that? Like, you're just going to leave her? And then, sure enough, after Shen dies, that's when the acid is going on Claire, and Claire's literally fending for her life. And that's when Leon's like, well, I lost one chick today, so I ain't going to lose my side chick.
I'm going to maintain on this one that because they didn't have him look to where Claire was or anything when she said Leon the first time, and they were like 3 or 4 floors above, I think he just didn't hear her say anything. Because then later, when she said Leon again, the acid was coming up, you know, to where she was standing. He was only like half a floor above her, maybe 1 floor above her, because he was on that grating.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
So at that point, I think he happened to hear her and was like, "Oh shit, Claire's here dying. I didn't know that."
Yeah. Yeah, and then that's when he makes a run for it, and then, you know, typical Leon, and then after he saves Claire, right away. But I was like, yeah, I mean, nobody's gonna save. Like, I saw them running. I'm like, nobody's gonna save Claire. Somebody save Claire, dude. Yeah.
Did the moment feel a little like
rushed?
I don't know, like rushed or
yeah.
weird? Yeah, because he was like, oh, Claire, and then he like bolted, and there was something weird about it.
Yeah. No, the whole thing was like that. The whole thing was like the director had to go to the bathroom. The director had the runs. All right, we gotta finish this scene, guys. We got like less than 30 seconds. Eiichiro's going to the bathroom, dude.
Yeah. I want to see the director comment on your video and be like, excuse me, I did not have the rest.
Toire wa doko desu ka? No. Where's the bathroom? Yeah. I said it in old man's voice too. I don't know how old Eiichirō. I think Hasumi. I don't know. I don't know how old he is. Yeah. I just pictured an old director. Yeah, but no, the whole thing felt rushed. It felt like they needed, and I'm also doing another video too, of talking about season 2, a potential season 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
so.
Like it could have been the 8 episodes. Like that would have been okay.
Yeah, if they had more room to breathe
or
and
even
let the story open up a bit, Like I said, there's a lot of missed opportunities where it felt rushed, and it didn't need to feel rushed. You know what I mean? So, or yeah, no, I mean like there was a lot of missed opportunities, and I think the reason they were missed is because it was rushed. That's what I mean. Yeah. Oh, my cat.
Well, and like you said, I mean, there could have been more build up to that boss scene at the end too. There could have been a longer, like not longer fight, but I guess like more intense fight. I don't know. It was a little.
And that's what I was mentioning before. I had something to say about the final boss fight. So yeah, you didn't like how it wasn't that intense. I thought it wasn't a final boss fight. I thought it was pretty lame, to be honest. What was it? Leon grabbed like a sniper and shot him, and it didn't really work. Or I think it shot his arm off.
Like a rocket launcher that he shot him with.
And that's it.
Yeah, and it shot his arm off.
Yeah. And then one more shot, right?
Yeah.
While he was hanging.
And then the thing collapsed and he fell into the acid, which is, I mean, it was fine. That was a good way to kill him. It's probably how you would do it in the game. Like, you would have to find some way in the game to knock the boss into the acid.
But it was so short. There was
something very anticlimactic about it.
It was so short. Like, it was like the whole thing. I think the final boss scenes, right? The final boss scene, it got stretched out a bit because Claire was helping, right, Leon, with the controls, which is very Resident Evil. I like that. Yeah. I thought that was very classic. Going about doing stuff like that, and then all of a sudden, Claire gets like a container thrown at her, and so that basically made the scene longer. But Leon, it was up to Leon at the end of the day, right? Leon just took the rocket launcher and shot him, right? Claire didn't really do that much. I think she just tried to, stop him from going all the way up, right? But that scene could have been, what I'm saying is that like that 5-minute scene could have been condensed to 30 seconds, And I think that's what made it feel, like you said, like anticlimactic. Yeah, I didn't
know if that's what it was, or it just needed like more of like fighting back from the boss or something.
Well, the thing is, here's the thing: when in Resident Evil, Resident Evil, the final boss fight it's like any Japanese final boss. There's usually like 2 forms. There are, at least there's a third form, or like Resident Evil 6. Like, remember Simmons? Like, he turned into a T-Rex. Turned into like a pterodactyl, turned into like whatever.
Like
I don't
a
even.
Giant dog thing, I think.
I don't know. I don't even remember. But it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was.
But we could have used some of that. I agree. Like, that's what was missing.
Yeah, and so, and even like Mr. X, Resident Evil 2, or like Mr. X transforms. Like, I think he has 2 transformations. Yeah, like at the end he does an ultimate form. Right, and then and that's when Leon fights him. Same thing with G. G has like 5 forms, I think, right? Resident Evil 3, Nemesis has like a ton of forms, right? And so that's what it was missing. Like, I think that was the thing. It needed more. more of an an oomph, and it didn't have that. It was just Jason, and then Jason turned into like a little Hulk, and like a Hulk gargoyle, and then he was just jumping up, and he wasn't even trying to fight Leon. I just remembered, like, he didn't kill Leon. He grabbed Leon. He could have snapped his neck or whatever, but he just left him.
He wasn't really trying to like kill him, which I'm fine with. Like, he just wanted to spread terror. He didn't really want to murder.
But why did you kill Shen?
Why did he kill? Yeah, I was gonna say that. Why did he kill Shen was the problem.
Exactly. What? Japanese filmmaking. What?
Yeah.
The logic.
I mean, even when you fight Birkin in number 2.
Yeah.
Like, he comes back like a couple times and like has like bigger forms and stuff.
That's what I said. G, the G virus. Yeah. And so it didn't make any sense. And so and that scene kind of established that he wasn't focused on Leon. He still thought Leon, was just confused, but he would see his way, right? As soon as he got up there, But Shen, the same thing. So why does Shen die?
She saw his way and he still killed her.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they just wanted a dispensable character. Disposable. Yeah.
Yeah. That was lame.
Like, off.
That was lame. So then why did we...
They couldn't kill Claire because,
No, yeah. Yeah, and behind the scenes interview, one of the things is that when they were in the planning stage, they did say we wanted Claire and Leon, right? We wanted Leon to have a female character. We didn't know who to pick, and then at the end we picked Claire, since they just, have Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil Degeneration. But then I was like, but then they never worked together. And then sure enough, the director mentioned that. They didn't really work. They worked like how in Resident Evil 2, where they were working on the same thing, right? They were uncovering the same thing, but they were working solo. And I thought that was super lame because, they could have gone the route of, and this is what I mentioned, is that they could have gone the route of partners, right? Partnering up, like in Resident Evil 5, Resident Evil 6, especially Resident Evil 5, it was a big aspect of the game is partner, right? Like, you have to trust me,
Yeah, and that was kind of what made it good.
Yeah. I like the co-op.
I would like to see some of that.
Yeah, and so they could have gone, and this isn't the game, so we, in the game, especially the first originals, it was very, that was the Resident Evil formula, was like, let's split up, right? Even though it's like, what? There's zombies everywhere, or in this mansion. Why are we gonna split up? This is a horrible idea. This is like a typical horror movie. You don't split up, Someone gonna die. Yeah. So yeah. And anyways, yeah. And then after, essentially, we have that really lame boss fight, and then again with Leon's hanging, right? He's hanging on the rope or the chain after shooting what's his face, Jason mutated with his mutated form, and then we don't see how he gets out. We don't see how he gets out of it, of hanging. So it was very similar to the submarine where he was hanging, but yeah, we didn't see him.
I mean, at least in that case, he could climb up, though.
Yeah, but it's like, we could have seen that, or maybe he, did some flips or something. I don't know.
Fancy footwork.
And then after, they just show up in the top, right? And then that's when, that's the ending, right? No, sorry. Then, the president basically, Leon saves the day because he called early. And then after, I don't think anything else happens. Leon kind of just says hi to President Graham.
And then Claire comes back to talk to Leon afterward to get the chip.
That's the scene I was going to talk about too, That's the scene. But before that, what I'm saying is there's nothing much that happens.
No, nothing really happens.
Yeah, okay, I was just confirming, right? Like saying, does anything else happen? I was just like, oh, Patrick is like, Leon, you are the real deal. You are pretty badass.
Well, I don't remember when I don't know when the part with Wilson happens, if that was before or after the chip portion. I think it was before the chip portion. So, okay, the part with Wilson did happen. So that happened, where he has to go take the antivirus, and you see that it's Tricell. But then we go to the portion with the chip and Leon and Claire. Yeah,
and he looks like he's going to get, like, his ass is like, he's going to get whooped. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right? He looked like he's going to get, like, waterboarded or something.
Well, I think he was talking to one of his people from the pharmaceutical company.
Oh yeah, and you asked me before about Trisol, right? And the other thing I wanted to mention is that I don't know if Albert was working with Trisol yet, because the head of Trisol was Excella Guion, I remember correctly. Yeah. And I don't know if they were working for years during that whole time. It could be. So yeah, I don't know.
That would have been a fun thing to end it with too, with like Wilson talking to Wesker, or meeting him. Yeah.
I didn't even think of that. It didn't even occur to me.
That would have been great.
That would have been great. Again, missed opportunity.
Where they didn't even, it's so missed. They didn't even need to show his face or anything. They literally could have had his back and just had him talk.
Showed him in the chair. Showed him in the chair like that, or like showing his back, kind of like that. That would have been cool. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's true. And I didn't even think about it because I didn't know until we had this conversation, right? Because I totally missed that Trisol logo. Totally missed that. Yeah. So Trisol was a conglomerate with Umbrella. Like they were the next Umbrella, essentially, right? We know that from Resident Evil 5. And we know that, Excella was the head of that, and then she worked with Wesker. She had the hots for Wesker, but Wesker was like, back off, you're my side chick. You know?
My main chick is Jill.
yeah, essentially. but yeah, and then then we had that conversation with Leon and Claire, and that was a weird conversation. Yeah, so it was kind of funny because Claire showed up, and Leon, left his work, and it looked like they were. Leon said, "I thought we were gonna go grab dinner, right?" So he asked her, she asked him for dinner, but it was for the complete opposite reason. It was just to get.
Meant for friends.
But it was just for the chip. It was just for that. Claire essentially wanted to continue what Shen, started this whole crusade for, right? She wanted to show that her brother did get wrong, and that's why Jason also, right? They wanted to show the world that this happened, right? There's stuff that happened in Raccoon. Leon and Claire both knew that, but Leon just wanted it to be covered, because then you kind of get the understanding that Leon is like, well, I've seen what fear does to people. It's affected me. It's affected Jason. It's affected all those other guys, right? We've been through horrors, and so I don't want the world to know that, right? Because then everybody's gonna be scared, right? And that's what Jason was talking about.
Exactly. He wants people to just be able to live their life normally and not have to worry about
the
fact that there were
traumatized
zombies and viruses.
Yeah, not be traumatized and stuff. And especially since it's so close to home, like the people responsible for this outbreak essentially was the U.S. government, right? With Raccoon City and what happens in Infinite Darkness. And it doesn't come to light what happens to Raccoon City. That's the other thing, is that if they did come out with the information, then they would have mentioned Raccoon. I guess no, they wouldn't have mentioned Raccoon City, but I guess it would have been so huge that the world would have known, right? Because at Resident Evil 6, the president dies, I think, right after revealing everything that happens in Raccoon City. Yeah, in Tall Oaks. So I think
so.
Something like that, right? So so you kind of understand Leon's position, but then you also understand Claire's, right? And then the fact that they kind of left on bad terms, right? I was kind of like, whoa, like they're not friends anymore, right? But then again, at the beginning of the first episode, they weren't really friendly towards each other anyways, right?
They were somewhat friendly, but like more of an acquaintance thing almost.
Yeah.
Which I guess makes sense, because in Resident Evil 2, like we said, they weren't really together.
Yeah, but there is a scene like whether you're playing as Claire or Leon, right? Whether B scenario or A scenario, where they do look like they're attracted to each other, Yeah. There was some flirting going on. There was some chemistry.
The scene.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking of. Yeah. And also, I also mentioned so that's basically the end of the show, but the other thing I forgot to mention was my other theory is that either Ada would show up or Sherry, because I thought they've obviously had contact with Sherry, especially Claire, right? You would think that Claire
You
would check,
assume.
because she's an orphan essentially, like, and I don't know how old she is during the events of Resident Evil Infinite Darkness in 2006, but you know, I don't know if she's in school or whatever, high school or something, or
I guess it depends on what year 2000 or what year number 6 takes place in.
yeah, I saw some discrepancies. I saw some issues there. Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, so that takes place in 2013. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and Sherry looked like she was, I think, 12 or a little younger. I don't know. I honestly
She might
don't.
have been 10.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but in any case, they should have called Sherry or something. Or Claire should have called Sherry at least, right? Or I thought they could have visited her or said something, right? Again, another missed opportunity. Right? I don't know. They could have just showed the character or said hi, because Resident Evil 6, it looks like, Leon and Sherry have known each other. They're like, yeah, I heard you became an agent. Like, they're not that close, but they look like they check up on her like every now and then, right? I don't know. I guess that's just me being, a fan of Resident Evil. And I would have added that if I was doing the show, right? I would have added all those scenes. So, Chris and Jill, we would have seen maybe Ada, we would have seen, definitely Ashley, Sherry. So, yeah. But all in all, what did you think of the show? I guess what's your overall review of it? And for review, I guess I don't really like 1 to 10, but I guess mostly like, would you recommend this to people or just to Resident Evil fans, or what? Yeah, what did you think? Did you think it was okay, amazing, like everybody has to watch this, or you should just pass?
So I enjoyed it. I mean, that I don't know if I said this during the video, but of course, I said that the animation for the walking really bothered me.
That's
Especially
right.
That last scene where Leon's walking away, it looks like someone shoved a stick up his butt. I can't. And there's some really awkward moments where Shed turns really like robotically. But that's just an animation complaint. I like really smooth animation, and there was just some weird clunkiness with the animation.
Yeah, it looked like everybody. Yeah, we did talk about this before we started, and yeah, it did look like people. Every character was strutting essentially. Everybody, especially Shenmei, it looked like she was kind of strutting, moving side to side.
Well, and there was just some I don't know, their knees didn't quite bend right or something. There was some weird movement.
I don't know. For me, I watched it again after because Kaitlin did mention this to me. And I was like, really? I gotta watch episode 1 again. And I didn't really notice that much. I don't know. It didn't bother me that much. But you know what?
Go watch that last scene where Leon walks away. Just stare at him walking away.
Okay. I'm not gonna look at his downstairs though, Kaitlin. Okay, because you were paying attention to that because you said it looked like he had a stick up his back.
Well, I'm female, so clearly I'm checking out Leon's butt. Actually, I'm really in it for his face. No, but really I was just looking at the animation because it's been bothering me the whole time.
Yeah.
It was really apparent in that scene.
But it's not just you. It's not just you. Like I invited my cousin the first also, to see if he wanted to also talk and watch Resident Evil Infinite Darkness so we could have a discussion about it, right? Everyone.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can't watch CGI, Eder. I can't. I cannot do it. So that's why Xavier, it wasn't in this video, right? But he's like, I'll do any other video, Eder. I'm down for anything else, but just not CGI.
They didn't do that really awkward. I don't know how much CGI stuff you've watched, cartoon-esque shows and things.
I've watched a lot, yeah.
You watched a lot? Okay.
Yeah. Not a lot.
At least...
Yeah.
Okay, at least they didn't do that awkward thing where they do part of it in 3D CGI and part of it 2D, because I'll lose it. I can't handle that. It's so awkward where sometimes the characters are moving in 2D and it's really nice and smooth, and then suddenly it's this weird 3D shading and everything's a little bit slower.
Yeah.
At least they chose one medium for those.
So I haven't watched that much. Like I said, I have watched my share of CGI movies. Like I said, I've watched all of the Resident Evils movies, right? The CGIs. I've also watched, I think, as a kid, I watched some CGI films, right when it was basically just starting, right, or it was starting to get popular. But no, there's been issues, and that's what I mentioned too. Like the first one, it was very blurry. but it was decent. I don't know. I see it like a video game, to be honest, and they do mocap for a lot of it. So for me, I didn't have issues with the way they were walking. Like those. I was joking too. I was like, I kind of strut when I walk, and I kind of am a little stiff. It's gotten looser my stride, but I do have swag. I do have swag, is what I'm saying. No, but it didn't. It didn't bother me. It didn't bother me. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I do think they did a really good job with the expressions, though. Like all the micro expressions on the faces, I thought were well done.
The nice. Voice acting too. I was really impressed. Yeah. The voice acting was really good. Yeah, it was
there was
really.
A lot of emotion.
Huh?
There was a lot of emotion.
Yeah, no, I thought the voice acting was really good. Yeah, I was impressed. I mean, we already knew like Nick Apostolides and I can't remember Claire's voice actress's name. Why can't I remember her name? Anyways, yeah, but you know what I've seen? Like, we've seen Resident Evil 2. I've seen their chemistry. They had really good chemistry. It just, this one, they didn't really have good chemistry because I think it was the writing. They're kind of like frenemies. You know, they kind of had some beef with each other, especially with like, don't do anything stupid, Claire. And like, you know, I thought we were going out for dinner, but I guess you just want to talk business. Claire's like, of course. That's why I'm here. You know?
Claire's like, I don't want to date you.
Yeah. You had your chance. You left me in a chair downstairs in the facility. I can't forgive that, no. But
to be asked.
And that, yeah, so that was kind of weird. I think a lot of fans probably got upset about the relationship and how it turned at Infinite Darkness. But no, the voice. So I already knew the voice acting was going to be good. The only thing, like the only thing I was questioning was if Nick Apostolides' Leon's voice could match his more experienced Leon, right? And so, but I did, you know, automatically think of Matthew Mercer or Paul Mercer, mostly Matthew Mercer, I think, as voice for a lot of the scenes. But then I'm like, oh, wait a second, no, this is Nick Apostolides. Right, just because Leon looks like the older Leon, right? Like this is his transition. Like he doesn't look like the younger Leon, where he's got like more of a shorter haircut. This is when he has long hair, essentially, like Resident Evil 6, you know, and going onward. And so, but everything else, like the voice acting was really, really good. Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I think overall the series, I mean this season, I gotta say it was pretty good. I was pretty good. I would recommend it to any Resident Evil fan, for sure. Like I would have to say, if you're a Resident Evil fan, definitely watch this if you haven't, right? And I'm sure you watched it, right? This video has a lot of spoilers, but you know that's my take on it. I thought it was good, right? Like it was good, but there were some issues with the story. Definitely, there was some Japanese storytelling issues for me. But I mean, that's fine, right? And I would have liked it to be longer, right? And so if we do see like they make another show or another movie, I'm still down, right? Like, and personally, I don't think any of the other movies were like complete like bad. Like I never thought they were that bad, right? I thought they were okay. You know, they were something to watch, and I'm a fan of Resident Evil, so you know I'm going to watch it, right? And they weren't as bad as like the Mila Jovovich movies. So, you know, if I could watch the Mila Jovovich movies, you know, I could watch the CGI movies, you know, and they were much better than that. So that's what I mean. All of them have been good for me, right? And so the same Infinite Darkness, I think, is the best looking one. For sure, I thought the graphics, like the way the CGI looked, was the best, and that's because they're using, you know, the latest tech. So I mean, if you like the games, then it looked like the games, right? It looked like a little better than the games. So I definitely would. If you're a Resident Evil fan and you haven't watched it, I would definitely recommend it. Like, you gotta watch this on Netflix, right? So for me, that's what I thought. What did you think at the end?
Yeah, I was gonna say I agree with that. If you're a Resident Evil fan, for sure, I think you'll really enjoy this because it's following the exact same characters and it feels like you're in the same world. Like even we were saying, some of the environments feel very similar in a good way.
Yeah.
So I think all of that's fantastic. I think if you're not someone who's played the games, you're not a Resident Evil fan.
Yeah.
I feel like you might have a lot of trouble following along with who people are and what's going on, and like. You wouldn't get a lot of the stuff. Like, you don't know who Tricell is. and you don't know what happens in the future, so it might be a little, or what happened in the past. So
Yeah.
it might be a bit hard. But if you're a fan, for sure, I would say it's a 10 on my scale.
Yeah.
Of enjoyment.
I could definitely see somebody that kind of that. Oh, a 7. I say, yeah. I think that's good. That's what you said, right? A 7.
Yeah, it's like a 10 or a 7 because there's some technical things and like some holes in the story. So like in terms of enjoyment, like I enjoyed it, so I would give it a 10 on that scale. But in terms of like if it's good, I have to lower it a little bit.
Yeah, and that's the same thing with me, right? Yeah, I think that's why there was some issues with the story again. But yeah, I mean, if I had to, I don't really like reviewing stuff, but I guess I would give it, yeah, 6.5, maybe 7. Yeah, 7.5, maybe something like that. I think it's good. You know, it's for me, it's like in the middle. It wasn't bad, and it wasn't, you know, it wasn't without its problems. You know, it wasn't the best thing I've seen all year. You know, but it was definitely, it was good. Yeah, and what else was I gonna say? I could definitely see your point that a lot of if you know somebody's just like they like Resident Evil but they don't really know a lot of the lore or the history, you know, even this show is really weird because it's in 2006, right? So you would have to know that this is after Resident Evil 4, right before Resident Evil 5 Lost in Nightmares, right after Resident Evil, a year after Resident Evil Degeneration. So if you've watched the first CGI movie, right? So you'd have to pinpoint, or you'd have to watch my video, right? of when I first talked about the information, right? But yeah, and so yeah, I could definitely see other people getting lost, yeah, for sure. But the thing that I really liked is that Hiroyuki Kobayashi, he's been with the series since the beginning. So I don't know if you watched my behind the scenes interview video. I just posted it like yesterday, but or before yesterday. And but yeah, Hiroyuki's literally been with the series since day one. Like he worked on Resident Evil 1 PS1 like 1995, 25 years ago.
Wow.
So he knows what he's talking about, right? You know, and so a lot of people were very worried about this show. I was like, I'm not worried because they have Hiroyuki Kobayashi, who's also produced. He was a producer for this, right? Executive producer, but he also executive produced the other Resident Evil CGI movies. And so there wasn't going to be any inconsistencies. I remember somebody commented on one of the Resident Evil Infinite Darkness news videos and basically was really scared of that, right? They were like, I don't know if there are going to be a lot of inconsistencies with the lore. I didn't have that issue because, like I said, Hiroyuki was there, right? And like I said, he actually worked as a programmer in the original game, worked as a planner for like Dino Crisis and several like Devil May Cry, Resident Evil 6, right? I think he was a producer, Resident Evil 4 producer, right? He's worked on literally everything, right? A lot of Capcom, Resident Evil titles. And like I said, every Resident Evil CGI, he's been in charge of that. So yeah, I think like I said, Hiroyuki did a good job. Though, if you guys have watched my Billy behind the scenes, right? Billy was actually supposed to be in Resident Evil Infinite Darkness. Billy, who's the character in Resident Evil 0, right? Kaitlin never played Resident Evil 0, right? Yeah, so yeah. It's not my favorite, so I'm not gonna bother you about that. Resident Evil 0 wasn't my favorite, but I was kind of annoyed when I heard that. I was like, what? Another character we could have had, another missed opportunity. And so definitely watch that video, right? I'll leave it up on the corner, if you haven't, because you guys can see my thoughts on what I thought about that. But all in all, I think it was a good show. If they make another season, another movie, I'm definitely there. Like I said, all of them have been, around a 6 or a 7 for me, right? So yeah. But I think that's everything.
I would definitely watch another one.
Yeah.
I mean, I have some to go back and watch already, so.
Yeah, you didn't watch the other 3s, right? Yeah, so definitely.
Yeah, well, they're not on Netflix, and so I haven't watched them.
I got them on DVD, yo.
Wow,
yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
I'll find them somewhere to watch them.
So I think that's the end of the video. Yeah, I think that's the end of the discussion. I think we talked about everything. And so if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to knife that like button. And if this is your first time here, remember to shoot that subscribe button. And also remember to punch that notification bell like Chris does so that you guys never miss a video. And just like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I consistently post about everything that has to do about Resident Evil. And so, yeah, and so that includes news, theories, walkthroughs, and lore videos. And so if any of those topics interest you, then consider joining the Project Wesker family. And also feel free to follow me on my Instagram because I actually post different things there. Yeah. And thank you so much for joining me, Kaitlin, and discussing Resident Evil Infinite Darkness.
Anytime.
Just so you guys know, this channel is supported by Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee. So make sure to check the links down below in the description, especially Patreon, to see all the perks you could get. And remember, don't worry if you're unable to sponsor the channel. Your support on YouTube and Instagram is just as important. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching, enjoying, and sharing my content. And I'll see you guys in the next one. The right to be a god. That right is now mine.